You just recently taught me how to change my oil. I had no clue how to do that. I mean, I know one could say, oh, it's because you're a girl, but no. I mean, that's something easy to do.
Whenever I taught you and you told your father that I showed you how to do it, I was thinking, I hope he doesn't think that I'm showing her so she does it from now on.
No.
Because for me, it was to show you how simple it is. And I guess one thing that you have to take into account is, what if I'm not here?
Yeah, I've thought about that too.
Then you could think to yourself, well, I remember he told me to do it this way, because already we have jobs that are somewhat designated for each other, right? That one could say, well, and it's not that I see it this way, that women should be in the kitchen cooking and men should be doing yard work. But I don't know, I think there's beauty in sharing chores. Not really, I guess just knowing how to do it.
Yeah.
Because if you're not there to do my laundry, I know how to do it.
Yeah.
And it would be, I don't know, it'd be pretty unfortunate if I didn't know how to do such things.
And you didn't teach me to change my oil just because you're going to tell me, oh yeah, you can do it now. You were just showing me. Yeah,
I was just showing you just so you can have an idea as to how something is done, and also to know where exactly your transmission is and your
I didn't know that.
motor is, because one can tell you, but if you're never looking at it, you can't distinguish what's what. And that's not to say that from here on out you're expected to do your own mechanical repairs, but
you're on your own.
rather just so you can know how something functions, at least have some kind of insight.
Yes.
I'm not saying that everybody should know the ins and outs of a vehicle, but I guess just to have some idea of
the basics.
The basics.
Even I do. You still need to teach me how to change a tire. I don't know how to do that quite yet. But do you? Sometimes I wonder, or I think about, should they have taught us that in school? The basics of
maybe just the basics, because I could see how somebody could not want to, right?
Yeah.
For me, I've always had interest in something, at least initially, because I favor learning. Even though I may not be into it, I, again, favor learning it, but then I quickly want to change what I'm learning about and learn about something else.
Yes. I also wouldn't have mind learning more about well, I mean, I guess you could say in school they taught you basic math, but they also taught you extremely complicated math.
Yeah.
But I guess that could be for people who would, I mean, I guess that would benefit some people.
Yeah.
But for me, I guess it didn't benefit me at all. I just would have liked to know the basic of the basic.
I know I've never really used all the math that was taught.
Yeah, me neither.
And because of which I haven't been able to keep what I've learned. Because if you were to try to throw on to me what I learned then, I probably couldn't tell you half of it. Because if you're not constantly using something, then you kind of forget about it. But I think it's important to at least have some insight, I guess, of how things work. I think more than math, practical things.
Yes.
Such as, if you're not there to iron my clothes for whatever reason, I would know how to do that. You've mowed the lawn before.
Oh yeah, I have.
You may feel that you're not really good at it, but at the bare minimum, you know how to
I mean,
operate one.
It would get done, but it probably would get done sloppy.
Yeah, and that's not to say that if you have the means to pay somebody to do it, that you shouldn't do that. But it's just having an understanding of how things work. I had a friend say to me, I just don't want my kids to grow up dumb. I forget what we were talking about. He said, I don't want my kids to grow up dumb. And I was thinking to myself, I don't have kids. We don't have kids, but I can totally understand where he's coming from, because I don't know, I guess in some ways I was given a lot of room to grow and explore outside. I was outside a lot.
Me too.
But with that, and I get my parents were always working, so maybe they didn't have the time to show me, hey, this is how you do this. But also I didn't have the interest for it. I think it would have been different if from a younger age they would have taught me how to do certain things. Then that would have spiked my curiosity more. But that didn't happen. And I think that's why you have to, perhaps from a very young age, teach them young, as opposed to, if they're not conditioned to want to know how to do it, then they'll have a hard time.
Yeah, as they get older.
I can see how that may not always be the case either, because say if you try to have your kid do something from a very young age and you think, well, I've been telling him since forever and he's still not picking up, he or she is still not picking up on it. And so I get how there can also be that.
Yeah, because I think back when I was a teenager, or when I was younger, I don't think I would want to have learned. I don't think I would have been open to learning that much stuff. I don't, like, if you would have tried to teach me how to change the oil or change a tire back then, I would have been like, oh yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But now that I'm older, I think to myself, yeah, I wish I actually would have gotten taught that. Or maybe if someone did try to teach me that, I wish I would have listened and been like, okay, yeah. But it's not until, just like people say, it's not until you get older when you're thinking, oh man, I wish I would have done this or listened to this person, or now I understand where my parents were coming from. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think for me, I was always zoned out in school. I was constantly drawing. I was the kid that was in the back, always drawing. And I guess I would have had somebody, I don't know, say if somebody would have really taught me maybe more about that, then I would have truly immersed myself in it, because I was doing what I could, and as it was, I was pretty good. At least I was told I was pretty good at that. But
at drawing,
I don't know what I would have made of that. Maybe temporarily it would have just fulfilled me, but it's not to say that I would have grown to be an artist.
So it was just something you were doing in the back of the class, just is it doodling? I think that's what they call it.
And so you don't have to do something forever, right? You can learn something and then let it go. And I think I talked about that where I do something temporarily and then, but.
Yeah, so that's what makes you think, well, if somebody was really there to teach you, would you be into it just briefly, or would you actually be focused and
I think I would have, I'm sure I would have been excited to learn about it, because as it is, when I learn about anything, I'm not necessarily always excited, but I do have some curiosity as to, oh, okay, that's how that works. Too. And so that's why whenever I meet people with unusual jobs, I find them fascinating. I remember there was a guy that told me that, I don't know what the actual term of it is, but so you know, say at the White House how they have the pillars, right? Well, he did the, what is it? It's whatever is on the very edge of the pillars that's ornate.
Okay.
Right, and it looks like very tedious to do. Well, he did that.
Oh, that's neat.
And it was lucrative for him because nobody else did it.
Yeah.
And so when he was telling me what he did, I was starstruck. Honestly.
That is pretty cool.
Man, that's so cool that he's able to do that. And he was telling me how over time he's developed to be really good in this trade, and how there wasn't much competition, and so he was getting a lot of the business. But also, what's unfortunate is I believe none of his relatives wanted to keep the business going, even though he had clientele. And so I don't know, if I would have been his son, I would have ran with it, just because I find things as that so cool. At least, if anything, I would have loved to learn about it, and maybe, as everything else, it would have been temporary. Then I would have lost interest and wanted to do something else. But I don't know. At the same time, that's not to say that his relatives are wrong for that, because we all have our own interests.
Who knows? They may think that they weren't as good as him, and probably didn't want to try to learn it.
Because I definitely see situations as that too, where I'm not going to be as good as someone at something that they're great at, because I can bow down when somebody is really good at something and be like,
yes, for sure,
that person knows what they're doing.
I do wish at times I would have learned something that and actually stick to it and be passionate about it, but I haven't found that. And I'm fine with with it.
Yeah. So even with cooking, right?
Cooking. Baking.
Well, not to me. I think to anyone really should be important to know how to cook, instead of relying on having to eat out or someone to cook for you, because it's also really therapeutic. Just as what were we talking about just a while ago? The whole changing your oil can be therapeutic. Cutting the lawn can be therapeutic.
Yeah, I think yes, for sure. For you, baking for me is pretty therapeutic. It is therapeutic. But I just said that I wish I would find something that I'm into, and I actually, now that I think about it, I'm into bacon. Bacon. Oh, bacon. I'm into bacon. Wait, no, baking. I'm into baking. I am into bacon. I do love bacon.
Thick cut?
Yeah, thick cut. I am into that. I'm hungry right now. That's probably why I said bacon. Yes, Applegate. It is good. But, and it doesn't even have to be complicated baking. You can just, once again, start with the basics.
Yeah.
The basics of boiling pasta, boiling beans, baking bread. When I first thought, I think you mentioned it to me, is, maybe you should start trying to bake bread. And I was thinking, that sounds extremely complicated. I think you have to have a professional oven. You have to have all this professional equipment. That's just what I thought.
Yeah.
But no, you don't. I've been doing it for about 2 years now, and I do it all by hand. And
do you remember when you first started how you were a bit frustrated because the dough was sticking and you didn't know how to really work it?
Yeah, I didn't know how much yeast to use, sugar, salt.
And you let it go, and then you did it again. I think you tried it a couple times, and then maybe the third time is when you really started to pick up.
Yes, but I had to teach myself that. I didn't get taught that.
Yeah.
But I wonder if I would have gotten taught that when I was younger, what I would have became.
Isn't it neat how science works in that?
Yes.
On top of how working the dough, it's also the timing, as far as how far you let it, how much you let it rise for, and then how you prep it. Whereas if you leave it out, or if you put it in the refrigerator, how it'll affect it to be either softer,
flakier,
crustier.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
and how long you have to knead it for.
Yeah.
Because if you over knead it, I think it does something to it. I don't know. I just found the perfect way of doing it, and I stuck to that. And yes, we haven't bought a loaf of bread from the store in years.
And just for me, observing what you do, I have an idea of how it works, and I think that's cool. At least to have an idea how something is done. Just as earlier today, I was sewing I was altering a dress shirt that I had, or not had, I still have it. I almost had it because I almost ruined it.
Yeah, you were good at those.
But it was a bit longer than I would have liked, and so I went to alter it. And of course, it's a new shirt, so I was trying to be very careful in that I was going to do it correctly. And since I'm new to sewing, I was being extra careful with my measurements, and it came out.
You did really good.
Yeah, if somebody were to see it and I showed you, I don't think anybody would think it was altered, because it looks like it came as that from the
you did
factory.
Do good. And I think that was only your second time or third time actually really doing that, and you did.
Yeah, and I didn't have to pull out any notes of how you do a certain thing. I was kind of just able to pick it up without doing it. And I'm certain somebody else that knows how to sew can think to themselves, yeah, it's pretty easy. But if you don't know what you're doing, as I did about half a year ago, then you'll completely get lost in how to work it. But now it's becoming easier. But I think to myself, man, that's super cool, and being able to do something and knowing how something functions. It's not necessarily to say that by learning how to sew you may want to become a seamstress, because it's all just knowing how to do something. I think it's cool.
Well, it's the basic sewing too, like just like mine is basic baking and yours is just basic sewing.
Yeah.
But I remember you showed me and I was like, oh my God, you did an incredible job.
Even with jeans, I got a pair of jeans that I really favored the denim that was on it, and so I bought 3 because they were fairly expensive. But also I figured, let me get my measurements down right, and I'm going to try to alter them so they fit me exactly how I favor them. And so I was able to do that, and I might have had to undo the hem at one point and try to get it correct, but I was able to do it. And unless you get close enough, you really can't tell. And they're exactly as I favor them. So
those did come out.
Yeah, it's pretty
cool. Did you do it to all 3 of them?
No, I'm just the one I've been using, because I'm saving the other 2 pairs just so whenever I wear out this first one, then I can go to wearing those other ones.
Having backups.
But also too, even with this jacket, right? So I kind of wear my jackets a bit bigger, but also I had to undo the original buttons.
I forgot you did that.
And I was able to do it close, because if I hadn't, then I would have been bigger, and it would have been as this. I don't want to be walking around like that. And so what I did was undo the original ones and then put my alteration there, and so now it's closed, and when you see it falls exactly as I favor it, because I really also favor my length at 27 inches, and all my jackets are also, because I don't like them too long. And so but this is something that I did a couple years ago.
You taught yourself to do that. You never had.
I got myself the tools, rather inexpensive, and taught myself how to do it. And so
sometimes you just have to teach yourself to do things.
Yeah, and when I got it, it was new, and so again, there was that, I don't want to ruin this, and so you just got to dive into it so you become more confident in doing it. Because right now you can throw me, because I even did it with my Carhartt jacket that I had, which is even more expensive than this one, and I did it to it also because for some reason, I guess they're made with a wider opening.
You had to be really careful with that Carhartt jacket because they don't make that one anymore at all. So no, I know you were really trying to focus on what you were doing. Yeah, that's funny. I was looking at this the other day, and I didn't even know you did that. I totally forgot because you did it so well.
I even forget I did it because
I thought it came that way.
I don't see it as, oh, I ruined it. No. I kind of see it as, man, it's pretty cool that I was able to do that because, again, since I favor them bigger, then this also is bigger. Then I have to close it so it can fit exactly as I prefer it. And so, it's just something else that's
easier to do it. Well, I want to say it's easier to do it yourself, but maybe for some people it's not. Maybe it's easier for them to be like, no, I'm just going to take it somewhere. And there's nothing wrong with that either. Nothing.
Because it could be that maybe I don't have time to do it, but at least I know if it came down to it, I could do it myself. I think there's something cool about that.
That's true.